What's up? We got The Flash, Season 1, Episode 23, Fast Enough, the season finale. So as I did with Arrow's finale, I will talk about how I felt about the first season of The Flash. And I thought it was pretty good. I liked the characters, I liked the story. Barry was a good protagonist. I like how how they had crossovers between him and Arrow. I like the Felicity cameos, even though the second time she appeared with Ray. Just Ray, and they need Ray, but they could just use Felicity, but okay. And I like the Reverse Flash. He was a great villain. Tom Cavanaugh played a great villain. Tom Cavanaugh played a great villain because first off, when you first start the Flash, you don't know that Dr. Wells is Eobard Thawne Wells is the villain. You just think that he's a normal guy in the wheelchair, and as you figure it out, you know that he's the villain, and I like that about the show, is that they put the pieces together for you. That he's the villain, he's related to Eddie, and Iris knows who Barry is. But yeah, but let's start off with but enough talking about the seasonal. I give the season a 10 out of 10, it's the best. So this season starts off with Barry talking to Eobard Thawne Wells, aka the Reverse Flash, and he's like, who? And he's like, is that your name? Eobard Thawne. And he's like, since he was born, he's like, when 237 years, 36 years. 100, I think he said 136 years from now, and he's like, that's not what you want to know, Barry. And he's like, ask it. And Barry's like, why did Eobard kill his mom? And he's like, because he hates him, not him, years from now. And he's like, when? So yeah, so years in the future, he learned Barry's name, and he was like, Barry Allen, and he knew that he wanted to kill Barry as a child to wipe him off the face of the earth. But Barry's future self got Barry's younger self out of there. He was mad, so he decided to do one thing: kill Barry's mom, thinking it would give Barry so much despair, it would make him to stop becoming the Flash. So he decided so. But in doing so, he realized that he lost all his speed and he was stuck there. But in doing so, to get home, he had to do the impossible. He had to create his worst enemy. He had to create the Flash. And he's like, now, Barry, I know what your father and Joe feel looking on with you in pride and love. And Barry's like, don't you ever say that to me, bitch. And Barry's like, he hasn't said that, but I like saying the word. So he's like, don't you ever say it to me. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of, okay, so Wells is like, Barry, the only way for me to get home is for you to go back in time, save your mom, and so you can reunite the Allen family. And Joe's all for this. He's like, Barry, good for you. You should do that. And he's like, why? And he's like, this is why you became the Flash, Barry. And yeah, so he goes to talk to his dad, and he's like, no, don't do it, Barry. And he's like, knowing that if your mom were here, Barry, she wouldn't want you to do this. Knowing that you went back in time to save her, she wouldn't be happy with it. So we see. I like this deleted scene. I watched it. This deleted scene between Joe and Eobard. I liked it. It was good. This scene between Joe and Eobard is about Eobard. He's like, Joe says, I just like Tom Cavanaugh's cat acting. So he's like, he's like, you've messed for our life for too long. And he's like, when you steal someone's body, you steal their minds, their memories, their love. And he's like, there isn't any time he gets teary-eyed over Tess. And he's like, a woman he never met. Because Joe's like, because you killed her, dude. And he's like, yeah. So then we get a scene between Cisco and Wells, and Wells revealed to Cisco. Cisco's like, hey, he killed him. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, it was a timeline that Barry reset where he killed him. And he's like, wow, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, he's not sorry for killing him. It must have been great. It must have been great, but he's sorry that he was able to remember. Wells is the worst. Eobard thought Wells is the worst. So he's like sorry that but he's like, sorry that you remember that, even though it's from now. That means you have power. You were affected when the particle accelerator went off. And Cisco's like, nah, no, he wasn't. And he's like, yeah, there's a destiny that awaits you, Cisco. So yeah, so Caitlin and Ronnie decide to finally get married, and yeah, and Wells and Stein is talking with Eddie, and Stein's like, hey, it was a coincidence that Eobard happened to land in a time when that you were, and it happened to end up in the same job, the same profession that you were. So you are special, bro. So he decided to tell Iris, and they're like, hey, they love each other. So yeah. So yeah. Caitlin and Ronnie finally get married. Barry decides to go along. Barry decides to go along with this and go with Dawn, and he decides, and he goes back in time, and he sees a bit of the future. He sees the past. He sees a Caitlin like with white hair. He sees Snart and some other characters, and Adam, and he just goes back in time. He's about to save his mom, and the future Barry's like, don't save her, stay right there, and Barry has to watch his mom die. Oh, future Barry's coming. But anyway, Barry got to see his mom one last time as she dies, unfortunately. So then what happens is that Eobard's like, Rapunzel built this time sphere, good guy. But then Barry busts in, defeats Eobard, and Eobard Thawne Wells, and he's like, you could have had. You can save her. You could have had everything. You could have had what you wanted. You could have everything you ever wanted. And Barry's like, I already do. And he's like, not for long. At battle time, and then he defeats Barry. And he's like, first I'm gonna kill your dad. Then I'm gonna kill your Iris, and then I'm gonna kill your Joe. I always win, Flash. And then a gunshot goes out, and it's Eddie who shoots himself to stop Thawne. And Iris is like, hey, no. And then Joe's like, what'd you do? And he's like, there's no coincidences. And then he's like, Cisco Eobard Wells is like, Cisco. Eobard Thawne Wells is like, Cisco, help him. I'm like, Cisco's not gonna help you. And how would Cisco help you anyway? And he's like, and Cisco realizes that since A is his ancestor, if A dies, Eobard will never be born, and he goes back to how he originally looked before he stole Harrison Wells' face. So now he's just Eobard Thawne, and he's like, is like, yeah. So he's like I'm trying to say, so yeah, he's. I cannot remember. I don't know. Yeah. So he disappears. He disappears. He's like, so long, Barry. How I've worked your life for so long, Barry. How will you get along without me? And then Matt Lecter says that, and then he just disappears. Bye, Eobard. See you never. And then a singularity appears, sucking Central City, and then we see characters like Captain Cold, a random lady. And so Barry decides to fly up, and that's how the season ends. What a ride this season was. I love this season. Flash Season 1 is great. It's a great ride. I love the characters, as I said before. Caitlin and Ronnie are finally married. Galen and Ronnie are finally married. After all that time, Caitlin and Ronnie are finally married. And it's just like, wow. Like, Caitlin and Ronnie are finally married. Eddie's dead. R.I.P. Eddie. Oi, oi, oi. Eddie's dead. Dawn's dead. And actually, he's erased from existence. What is Iris gonna do now? Her boyfriend, her fiance's dead. Maybe West Island can finally happen. I don't know. I'll see you next time for more of The Flash. Season 2. I'll see you next time when we're on The Flash Season 2. Zoom, zoom.